Listen, you know what time it is. It's time for another episode of your favorite new podcast entitled We Hate You Internet. Gather around, we back in this thing once again, in the place where they love to ask the question, what is your forte? It's Forte Studios here in Houston, Texas, and this is We Hate You Internet. It's a podcast designed to bring awareness to some of the problematic effects of the internet on our lives, as well as celebrate the beautiful simplicity of our humanity. I'm your host, Wilfred Hamilton, sitting on my far right, because I know you saw already we have a third person in the building today. On my far right, though, it's a person that you may remember. Last week she wasn't here, but she's back. You know what I mean, full of color. And ready to brighten up your world. Her name is
Clara Aguirre. I'm happy to be back. Missed you guys, so I'm excited for today's episode.
Very good. Make a tear out of that eye. Oh. Clara Aguirre is in the building. Now, you know what I mean? You already saw the man. He's sitting right in the middle, you know what I'm saying? Sitting tight, hair's right. He ready to go, you know what I mean? Very special guest we have with us today. We wanted to start a series of episodes we want to call The Talent of Humanity. And ultimately, the idea really is to, I think the idea is that if we celebrate the talent of one individual, it's also a celebration of the talent for all of humanity, because it shows what humanity is capable of. I think that, when you think about, like, I think we may have lost sight of the ingenuity of human beings, because of all the tools and things that we have to simplify and make things convenient for us in our lives. I think it's really easy for us to lose track of the fact that human beings are capable of a lot more than what we do. You think about the cars we drive and the cameras that we sit in front of, all nice and cute, like skyscrapers downtown, all that stuff. Like, a human being came up with that. It was an idea.
Yeah, that idea.
And they brought it to fruition. You know what I mean? Like, and human beings are capable of a lot of things.
We could do a thing or two.
Straight up. So anyway, I want to introduce the man. You know what I mean? Youngster. Got a baby face. You think he's fresh out of high school. That man grown, though. You see what I'm saying? 25 years old, hailing from the city of Kansas City. But he finds himself here in Houston, Texas with us. Been here for 2 years. Don't get it twisted, though. The man is quite accomplished. An artist known far and wide. He's done work with a couple of companies you may have heard of, Sony, Bose, you know what I'm saying? Did some stuff for Starburst. I think Pinterest had some things they wanted to do with him. So a lot of stuff that you guys dream about doing, that man has already done it. You know what I'm saying? Just got the bib off of the man, and we went around the world and back again. And when you hear his name, you'll think, man, you know what? It must have been prophecy, man. It was destiny. His name is Michael Artis. Michael Artis in the building, man. How you doing today, baby?
One thing I have to say is I love that intro, and also you guys' energy is amazing. Like, that was awesome. I felt like I was watching a show, just sitting here like just happy.
Well, guess what? You go from watching the show to being on the show.
Yeah, I'm on the show now.
And not only that, the star guest of the show, man. How does that feel?
It feels good, actually. I love the set, the colors. As an artist, I had to admire the colors, the green against the orange. It's contrasting. Like you said, I am Michael Artis, and recently I've been trying to go by Artisma as like my art name. You know how Kobe has Black Mamba, and then you guys might need to help me here. A lot of like
I think you're doing a good job. Go ahead.
People have aliases
Yeah.
for who they are with what they do.
Uh-huh.
And I kind of like that because it separates, sometimes when you do what you love, you got to kind of separate that from your own life.
A persona.
Like a persona. And me personally, when I work on art, I'm in the zone, and that's Artisma. But when I'm at home chilling with my girlfriend on the couch watching TV, That's Michael Artis.
Aw,
Yeah.
that's awesome. That's so cool.
Tapped into his creativity, alter ego, right?
Yeah.
And when he at home, when he in front of the canvas, he already all of a sudden put the mask on, well, eyes getting tense.
You made it sound evil.
Oh, I'm sorry. No. Like Batman's not evil, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
They call him a vigilante, but he really fighting for justice.
Yeah.
But anyway, so like I said, man, first guest of this new series. Really excited, man. Like I said, really thankful you reached out to us and said you wanted to kind of come on and discuss some things with us. And I was really excited about getting the opportunity to get you in. We had to open up a spot in the calendar and get the man in there, man.
Yeah, I reached out because I love everything you guys are doing, from the quality of work you put into the time you put into it, the quality of work you put into it, the thought you both put into this. So it was just a no-brainer, honestly. I really wanted to get on a podcast, and this was a no-brainer, honestly.
Oh,
so
that's
why I
awesome.
reached out and asked.
Yeah.
Let's bump that. I
Thank
appreciate
you.
that.
It's awesome that you feel connected to what we're saying, because I think that we really do put our heart into it, and it's exciting to see that people are feeling it. So that's awesome.
Indeed. One of the things you said, when you reached out, you was like, you actually make your living, utilizing the internet. And so you can kind of talk about the good side and the bad side. And, for those that may be just tuning in, first and foremost, we are in this new set. I know if you've been following us, you're like, man, they in a new spot. They ain't saying nothing about that. We in the new digs, you know what I'm saying? Forte Studios set us up right. We got to represent. This is the spot to be if you're trying to do any kind of production, so they're going to take care of you. But anyway, we don't actually hate the internet. Not literally.
Just a little bit. Just a little bit. No, I'm saying.
There are, it can be bittersweet, but
yeah.
No, but we think that it's a great tool. Obviously, it's a part of our lives. It's not going anywhere. I just think that one of the things we really try to get people to understand is understanding the necessity to have a healthy relationship with the internet. That's kind of thing that we really try to foster. Just let people be aware of the ways that it can affect you negatively if you're not careful. So enough of all the intros. Let's get down to the nitty-gritties. We want to ask this man a couple of questions. He's going to answer them for us. So when did you discover your talent, your gift? Like, when did you realize that you had a knack for art?
Yeah, so art has always been ingrained in my life. For example, like my brother would come home from school. This is when I'm real young, before I even start school. And he'd show me what he learned in art class. He'd show me different spheres and how he shades it, and cubes and how he shades it. It makes it look 3D, and I just thought that was the most amazing thing ever. So I would sit down with him and let him teach me how to do that. And as I grew, I would just always draw with him, and we'd always learn everything we learned together. That being said, my brother's an artist as well. But over time, in school, people would always come up to me and be like, your art's amazing, whether it's an art class or it's just a project. And I would take it with a grain of salt, like, I was a shy, awkward kid. So I would just like, yeah, thank you, and put my head down and keep drawing. So over time, it just kept happening. And then more people would say it, and people would start calling me Artist the Artist, because my last name is Artis, and I'm an artist. And I got that my whole life. I still get it today. And that's it started since I was really young, very young.
Dope. You got anything?
No, I think that's really cool, because I feel like there's some things that are just in a person, and your ability to find that and tap into it, regardless of what the world has to say. I think that's really, you find a world within yourself, and it's kind of liberating in a way. So
straight up, that's one of the things we talk about. Episode 5, we talked about talent, and just how people view talent in society that we have now. And one of the things, principles that we talked about was just how everybody is born innately with talent, and the talent that you're born with is meant to serve a purpose within society as a whole. You know what I mean? And instead of looking at it as a competition, you have to understand that there is value in just the talent that you have where you are, because everybody's born in a physical, tangible place. You know what I mean? And everybody's born into a community. You know what I'm saying? And that community is born with is gifted with different talent within that community, and it's all to be served. Everybody has different abilities, and those abilities can be complementary to each other. It's a natural thing. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, I 100% agree with that. And you said competition. You said sometimes, or you said in the episode you were talking about competition with talent, and I see it as that should never be even seen, because everyone's talent is so unique.
Yeah.
And even if someone does the exact same thing as you, they're still unique in their own way. They have their own story to tell. So there's space for everybody in this world. Like holding back and not sharing with someone else, like the fruits of your labor, and then likewise them sharing with you, it just makes you both grow. And if that doesn't happen, then you're both just hindering each other.
Good.
I love that. I love what you said, that there's space for everyone. Like, regardless of what it is that you do, whether it's painting, whether it's building or cooking or making music or singing, like there's space for you. There's space for you to exist and do it in whatever way that it comes out. Like, as your biggest critic is yourself. And once you get past that, then I think you're free, you're liberated, and you can explore these things about yourself. You can really tap into your skill and really build on it. So I like what you said. I think that's good.
Straight up. Next question I wanted to ask is kind of related to the first question. Was there ever a time that you felt ashamed or embarrassed by or for your gift, your ability?
And yes, that still, I would say that still happens to an extent. More shame, because when I'm in a group setting, I'm usually the oddball out, because there's not really too many Black artists out there in the world. Even since I was a kid, everybody in my art class, I would be the only Black male in there. Maybe not too many Black females either, but I just always felt like the oddball with everything I would do. So the shame comes from, not being able to. Sometimes the confidence just leaves. I don't know. It's hard to explain. Yeah. Like sometimes it's not always going to be there, and I really got to be realistic sometimes and be like, is what I'm doing realistic? But then every time that happens, a blessing comes my way, and I'm like, you need to stop doing this, Michael. You need to stop putting yourself down in this way, because at this point, I know what I'm doing is what I'm supposed to be doing. And although that shame and that fear comes my way, at the end of the day, I know I can figure it out. There's always a way to figure it out.
Do you feel like that's something that like happened as you went through your artistic journey, or is that something that you've always dealt with, even like as a kid, like you said, drawing, and then people would comment on your art and you'd be like, oh, okay. Do you feel like, is that something that you just learn as you go, or is it something that just like when you're tapping into what you do, you can just kind of have to face it?
Yeah, honestly, I would say, yeah, it probably has been throughout my whole journey. I think it's because it was such a unique thing that wasn't really around me personally in my life. So there weren't other artists that I could hang out with after school. While all my friends were playing basketball, hanging around, playing 2K with each other, I was at home drawing people from Instagram and like telling people I'll draw anyone who shares this post in like middle school. Like that's what I was doing. While all the other kids were outside playing basketball. Yeah. But so I just felt it was hard to relate to a lot of people, and I felt ashamed because of that.
That's powerful. It's interesting. Something me and my wife talk about a lot, actually, just about the challenge for talented people, really. And I think everybody can relate to this in some shape, form, or fashion. When something comes natural for you, like you don't think of it as like this thing that you're trying to do. It's just what you do. It's natural, and so it can be a really difficult thing, kind of quantifying that in your mind when other people react to what you do, because for you it ain't anything special. It's just drawing. So then you think that it's not special in the grand scheme of things. Like, there's other people that can do what I do. You know, and this is not like something I got to really think and focus and like really work hard to do. It just comes so natural, so easy for me. It's almost like it's not special in my own mind. You see what I'm saying? And that's a really interesting thing. And I would say, and I think you found it, is that you have to sometimes take a step back and realize what you do have is special. Like everybody can't do what you do.
There's a fine line with doing that, and I struggle with this to this day. There's a fine line with being confident within yourself and being arrogant to other people. And to an extent, I almost see arrogance as a perception, but it's also a spectrum of it. There's a spectrum of it. So I could walk outside and be like, yeah, I could be an artist. I could figure this out and do whatever I want. And someone may look at me and see that as arrogant of me saying that, just being like, I believe in myself. I can do this.
Yeah.
But you know, some multi-millionaire business owner could be like, could hear me say that and be like, you could do more. So it's like, I almost feel like I've been called arrogant before, but I feel like it's based upon the person who calls someone arrogant. I don't know, it's hard to explain.
No,
It's like
I totally get that.
Perspective.
I think like I don't feel like you're arrogant at all. I think that even as I looked on your page and read your bio, like quite the opposite. I feel like you have a really kind soul and kind energy about yourself. But I think you highlight something super important. I feel like people will project what they feel onto other people. And because they might be intimidated by your talent, they associate you with something negative like arrogance. When in actuality, you're just aware of the fact that you can do these things. And your confidence might scare those who are insecure.
That is correct.
But I think that it's important. I think it's important to like, sometimes we can't take everything someone does personally. And that's just that. We just got to charge it to who they are. And I think that you being who you are, you being, you know, on your own journey, trying to get your things done, you just got to lock in on that. And everything else is just noise. And at the end of the day, what other people have to say about you should have nothing to do with how you view yourself. You know?
Love that. That was beautifully put.
And that's a show for today. Yeah.
That was so perfect.
That's why I asked you to be on the show.
Sometimes I say things and it's hard for me to word them, and that's exactly what I was thinking.
You did a beautiful job. You did a beautiful job, though. You did. I like what you said.
That's why I begged her to be on the
show. I love that.
Man. Okay. So, like, okay, so then moving forward a little bit, like, what are some of the doors that have or opportunities that have been afforded to you because of your talent? You know what I mean? Like, I know you have quite a few things that you know have been involved with in your accomplishments. So, like, what are some of those things? And then I would say, what is the most memorable, the most exciting thing that you can recollect?
So one of the things that changed my life the most was collaborating with Reddit. So Reddit has these avatars called snooze, and they granted me the opportunity of creating my own avatars based on my artwork. So I did kind of a motif of a butterfly. That's how I usually do most of my paintings. And I created avatars based on different designs of butterflies and then gave them personality, basically. So that's what changed my life the most. And I am forever grateful for that opportunity. And it's a funny story how I got the opportunity.
Come on.
Because in my early stages, I was just starting TikTok and, you know, learning social media and stuff because I quit my job just out the blue and was trying to paint full time. And I would make videos, like 6 videos a day. And over time, this company contacted me. It was called Q Calendar. And they said they just wanted me to post on their platform like 5 times a week and just consistently do that. And over time, our collaboration ended because I didn't know why. I just thought it was me. I was like, I'm sorry, I didn't give you what you were asking for. But
That sound like an arrogant person. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
this is the beautiful thing about personal interaction.
Mm.
So I would talk to this guy maybe once a week. I'll just say his name's Will. So I would talk to him once a week. And over time, we just stopped talking and I stopped posting on his platform. And I just thought nothing of it. A year later, he contacts me. Hey, Michael. I'm like, oh, hey, Will, I haven't talked to you in a while. And he's like, yeah. So my company, it was his company, which I didn't even really know for that extent. He said, my company got bought out by Reddit, and they're doing this collectible avatar program, and I just wanted to see if you wanted to be a part of it. And I was like, I felt a little iffy about it because it just seemed, sometimes things seem too good to be true.
Yeah.
And I just tried it out. At the time, I never did any digital art before, but I learned, and just that small instance in the early part of my journey led to something so big that it's hard to explain how much I learned from that experience and how much it changed my life and who I am now today. But that's what changed my life the most.
And that's really a powerful thing. As I'm listening to you, the one thing that I hear in my head is like process. And I think like, man, because of like, the internet and social media and this ready-bake society that we have now, everybody's looking for instant gratification. People are trying to accomplish things, but they expect everything to come tomorrow. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, and people are quick to overlook the small steps it takes to get where you're trying to go. So you said this one opportunity that comes your way, another person may look at that and be like, what is this platform? Oh, there ain't nothing going on here. I ain't finna waste my time with that. I'm trying to get in the big, I'm trying to do big business. But that seed that was planted, you took the opportunity, and it took a year for it to grow. But then that guy remembered you. If you had got on there and been like, "Oh, this is small. This ain't nothing."
Yeah, this is nothing.
Then you would have missed out on this great opportunity on the back end. This stuff takes time to develop. Yeah. You know what I mean? And I really think that that's super important. One of the things we talk about on our platform, right, is just separating illusion from reality. That's one of the things that we really try to like lock in on, because I believe that is one of the major issues with the internet and social media and all that stuff, is that it creates this illusion of life. But life still moves the same way that it always has. We have the same amount of time. We talked about that in another episode. Time still passes the same way that it always has. Every process in our lives is going to take time, and you got to learn to be patient with it. You know what I mean? Anyway, I ran into the dirt road.
That was a huge mistake I made. Well, I won't call it a mistake. I'll call it a learning process I made during the beginning of my journey as well, because when I would have opportunities come my way and it didn't end up working out, I would just be devastated and like get depressed and just completely stop working on stuff, just because I would just let these opportunities get into my head, because I thought, oh, I could be huge, I could be famous.
Yeah, like this is the one.
Yeah, like this is the moment. This is my moment right here, and then it doesn't go through, and then I'm depressed. But at the end of the day, it's not. I don't even see it as I want to be famous anymore. I see it more so as I want to bring as much value as I can to the world, and rather than fame, I just look at how can I be valuable to this person.
Wow, that's beautiful. I love that. I think that's
major key.
Yeah, it is.
Yes, it is.
It changes the whole energy that you put forward when you create this thing, whatever it is. So I think that's beautiful.
Super dope.
Yeah.
Definitely
Another thing I kind of wanted to add that I also noted that as you were talking, I think, which is important to remember, is like the people you meet along your way, sometimes they could open your doors to so much. Like, and you never really know who that's going to be. Like, so it's important to interact with people. Like, not necessarily full throttle. Like, you don't have to be besties and all, but you just never know who is actually going to open you up to new opportunities, to chances, or expose you to people that might help you along your way. So I think that's really important to note as well, as these interpersonal relationships, sometimes they're essential or critical to your success, you know?
And I'd also like to add that most of my opportunities that I've been granted, most of them came from people I didn't expect them
Oh, wow.
to grant them to me.
Yeah.
So I would get these opportunities and I'd be like, how did you find me? Where did you come from? It'd just be some random person that I talked to
Wow.
one day, or it'd be someone distant I talked to in my past. And I'm
Yeah.
like, wow, it's just crazy to think that back in the day, I used to do prints a lot. So I would add an extra print into my packages. So when I would do that, people would often just give them to someone else or something like that. So one time I packaged 2 prints in a package and then gave it to a friend who purchased from me. And she gave it to one of her friends, and then one of her friends ended up getting a painting. So then, like, it's always like some
Yeah.
strange rabbit hole. That's just a
Yeah.
small example, but there's always some sort of thing that kindness just brings a lot
Yeah.
out of people, honestly.
Ripple?
Yes, a ripple effect.
It's mutually beneficial, you know?
Yes,
It's
indeed.
you should talk to people.
Yes, just talk
It's important to talk to people.
That's the episode for today.
Yeah.
I want to move forward because you mentioned something about mental health, right? And I think this is important in anybody's journey, is identifying the reality of balancing your mental health. And it never stops. It don't matter how successful you are. Matter of fact, the more successful you are, the more you have to be mindful of who you are and like how you're feeling. And so being an artist, in a world where we're exposed to talent like never before. I mean, the windows of the world are open and you can see talent from all
Across
over the
the
globe.
world,
You know what I mean? And you see you go and type #art in TikTok, Instagram, whatever, and you're gonna have millions of posts, right? So like, you doing this professionally, how do you manage the feeling of competition and or just your feelings of like, because I know it happens, like you feel like, man, like I'm just one of a million of people out here drawing like this, and it can hit you like that. So how do you ever feel like that, and how do you kind of manage that?
100%. I've felt like that before. Currently, I do not, and I'll tell you why.
That makes me happy. There.
Yay.
That just hit me with like a little shot of arrow in my heart. Like,
Yeah, yeah.
I'm sorry.
Sorry. We're just excited.
I'm sincere about this stuff, man. I really want people to be. Go ahead. I'm sorry. That makes me happy.
Yeah. So recently, I read this book called $100 Million Offers by Alex Hermosi, and
hold on. Alex, that first plug was free. Next time you have to pay for that.
So in this book, he talks about creating something completely unique and creating something that is so of value that if you showcase it to someone, they couldn't say no to it.
Mm-hmm.
So everybody in the world is unique, and I see every artist, anything as completely different from me. Yeah. So when I used to think of in a competitive lens, like, oh, I can't believe they sold this to this person, I need to do better. It was never like I wished worse upon someone. It was just I need to do better. But like we said before, it's like your journey's gonna take time. I would never try to think of your journey as it's gonna be an instant win. I'm gonna become famous and rich in a year. So nowadays, what I do is I think, like I said before, how can I create value? And even with something like art, how can I utilize my talent to provide value rather than, just selling paintings? I don't want to just sell paintings. I want to be valuable in some way.
Dope.
I love that. Super. I think that remembering that you're unique and that you're different, it's not necessarily that someone is better. It's just that they're different from you. I think remembering that is so important to removing, as you said, the competitive lens. Yeah.
And it's hard. It's not easy. Like, it's of our nature to be competitive and want more and just to be, I don't know, personally, I'll be personal, like, rather than everybody. Like, to be richer, more valuable, just have these things, have these connections and all this. It'd be amazing, of course, but it all takes time.
That's the key, man. That's the key. So when you're going through this process, and it's an interesting thing when you start with talent as a personal thing, and then you make a business out of it. It changes that dynamic of how you approach it. You know what I mean? But one of the things that I'm always mindful of, and this is kind of the next question, is do you still have the ability to find joy in your own talent? And what I mean by that is, like, you may make a piece for somebody else. They may ask for something, and you may not necessarily like the idea, but you're commissioned to do this art in the way they want to do it. You're trying to make sure that they're happy. It's not necessarily for you. And the more you do that kind of stuff, like people do music like that. Like, you have an artist that makes music. I used to do a little bit of music. You know what I mean? And so
I can tell, by the way. I heard your singing voice earlier.
sometimes I know the two together, but but you know, I run an artist that make music, but they don't know that they don't like the music they make. But they make it because that's what's popular and all that kind of jazz. You know what I'm saying? And so I understand the business, how you want to sell records, you want to have, you know, shows, whatever. So you have to give the people, you have to meet the demand. But it starts out with a person just loving to sing, loving to rap, loving to write, whatever, loving to dance. And I think it's really important that you don't ever lose that, at least a little bit of that for yourself. And so that's the question. Like, when you do your art, is there still time when you just have an idea and just draw because it just makes you happy?
Yeah, so before I was doing commissions constantly. I was constantly doing commissions to make money, and this was the beginning of my journey, which was only 3 years ago. So I would just do commissions and have enough to pay rent, pay for food, you know, utilities, and be satisfied. I'd be satisfied just at that. And over time, I realized that that's not what I wanted to do. When I would get all those Christmas commissions and then just get everyone on the phone, hey, can you change this? Hey, I don't have a picture of this guy, but can you figure out how to draw him based on these 3 very blurry images from 1963?
Oh my
like,
gosh.
I've had situations where I'm like, I can't do this anymore.
Yeah.
So 2 years ago, I actually said no more commissions. After that Christmas, I was like, never, I'm not doing it again. So in those 2 years, I was just like, I'm gonna create stuff for me and just hope for the best. And I did, and it actually was more fruitful than the commissions.
So interesting.
Yeah, and it is really interesting how that worked out. So I've just been learning for the past 2 years and trying to understand different things about art, about, you know, even clothing. I've tried airbrush, just trying different things, just trying to learn who I can be as an artist and, you know, test my limits. And then after I read the book that I just told you about, I finally figured out what I wanted to build as sort of a product from all this, to provide something valuable to people. And I want to do like custom one-of-one portraits, like do something where I do a consultation with people, and like just make a piece that is completely what I see in this person.
That's dope.
And just make it super individual and use like materials that really align with this person. Like if they really love, you know, Hawaii, use volcanic ash in the paints. And like I just really want to make it personal for this person. And that's what I'm working on now.
Wow, that's amazing. That is amazing.
That's impressive. That's impressive.